What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. And this is a little afternoon chat with your boy, Mac the Giants fan. What is going on right now, bro? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? I feel like I'm having some issues. If anybody's in the chat, whoever's out in the chat right now, let me know if you can hear anything I'm saying. If I need to make a change, but look. I don't know. This has been a crazy week in New York Giant land, man. It's been a crazy week. And it's just been like a lot of news in New York, a lot of news coming down the pike, obviously. None bigger than Brian Daboll. Guys, give me a second, man. Give me a second. I got to check something real quick. Give me 1 minute. Just to check something real fast. I'm not sure if my audio is right. Sorry about that. I apologize. Oh, you do hear me? All right. Thanks, Mosley. Appreciate you. All right, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, everybody. I got myself together. My bad. I'm getting used to it. I got a new little setup, and I'm getting used to some things, and I just wasn't, and I wasn't sure if I was said I had it set up right. It seemed like felt like it was off, but I apologize. Back on track right now. What's going on, Mosey? Too. Thanks a bunch, man. I do appreciate you popping in, man, for sure, and getting me together. But let's talk about the big news. Obviously, the week. Brian Daboll, man, up out of here. Moving on, man. It's a new day. It's in New York, John Land. Black cloud lifted. I mean, I feel like more work needs to be done. I think Brian Daboll did not need to be the only one dismissed, but I guess maybe you don't want to just tear down everything all at one time either. So maybe that's the thought process in this, because I really feel like we need to move on from this regime. But Brian Daboll, that's a great start. I mean, because this guy, it wasn't working out, man. Nothing, whatever he was doing, it wasn't working. It was failing. It was just a failing recipe continuously, week in and week out. Another terrible loss this past Sunday in Chicago, a game which once again should have easily been won. And Giants had that game well in hand, and just because of what I deem as coaching errors is what lost that football game on Sunday. Once again, lack the inability to adjust on the fly when needed. If Russell Wilson ain't your guy, if he can't be the guy that you need him to be, then he shouldn't have been your backup quarterback in the first place, because all hell broke loose once Russell Wilson came in the game. This offense became unfunctional again once Russell Wilson entered the football game. And if he can't be that guy that you need him to be, then there's no reason why he should have been your number 2 quarterback. So shame on you once again for that, Brian Daboll, and these are part of the things that led to your dismissal. I'm sure, because of these kind of choices that you decided to make. Because, like I said, it got bad once Wilson came into that game. Once Dart was out, it was just like that field goal from the half-yard line, from the 1-yard line, which could have been an attempt to go forward on 4th down from the half-yard line. If you just accepted the penalty and put your offense back on the field, it's unacceptable. Those things like that are egregious. When you're a 2-7 football team, you go out there and you go for the dub. You go for the win. You don't go out there and just lay down and lay down like that, man. You don't go out and, oh, I'm gonna take 3 points even though we're on the 1 yard line. We already 2-17. We have not won a road game since October of 2024. October of 2024. That was crazy work, man. And like just the overall play calling in itself once Russell Wilson came into the game. I mean, like you have no, okay, Russell Wilson's in, okay, he's different than Jackson Dart, obviously. So you have, if he's your backup quarterback, you have no method of action, no plan of action in the event that he has to enter the football game. We're just gonna go out there. We don't have a thing set up. We don't have anything set up to maybe to work to his skill set to be a little more favorable to what he can do. No, nothing. Squandered a 2-score lead once again in the fourth quarter on this past Sunday, man. And Monday morning, Brian Daboll, you were dismissed. Good riddance. Thank goodness. Goodbye. All right, Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka is been promoted to the interim head coach for the rest of the season. It's going to be an interesting move. I'm curious to see what he can do. I'm sure he'll get an opportunity to interview for the job in full, especially if he does a pretty successful interim. I'm sure he'll have a chance to, he'll have an opportunity. I got you, Lou. Give me a second. I'm sure he'll have an opportunity to audition for the head coaching job. This is kind of like a situation where, we'll see. He'll get an opportunity. I don't know. I feel like we need to move completely in different direction, but I don't know. We'll see what the New York Giants do. We'll see what the New York Giants do as far as their coaching search, man. Mike Kafka definitely, I would assume, will be on the list though. And also a lot of other names out there. People were bringing up, obviously New York Giants coaching jobs available. So of course, obviously the Bill Belichick name is out there, even though he has a job currently employed with the University of North Carolina, but it's out there nonetheless. JBX, thanks for coming in, man. You're new to the channel, man. Go ahead and hit that subscribe and button for me, man. Like the stream, I really would appreciate it. Our Giants need to get another first-round pocket passing quarterback. I mean, right now I'm good with Jackson Dart, my man. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm good with Jackson Dart. I like everything he brings to the table. I just think he needs better guidance and a little bit better, a coach that can help him protect himself a little bit better. Throwing him out there, I think Daboll was desperately throwing him out there and pretty much running that kid into the ground. So I think I like Jackson Dart. I think we need to build around him. I don't know if we necessarily need another first-round quarterback right now. I just think we need to build around Jackson Dart right now. Bruce Arian, that's the name you're throwing out there. That's an interesting name. I don't know if he was interested. I didn't know he was interested in getting back into the coaching ranks, man. I thought he was more or less kind of on that side of just wanting to stay retired. I see what you mean with the blue tent thing. I know he's been in the blue tent more often than we would like him to be, and I do understand your point there. But I think this kid's got it, man. I think right now we have so many other holes on this football team, and I think right now starting quarterback with Jackson Dart at the helm is not a hole, not that big hole right now. I think we have so much other things to worry about. We still need playmakers. I appreciate that. Oh, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot. I definitely appreciate the support, man. But I just think we need other things. Need more playmakers around. I mean, look what he's doing with the guys he has. For instance, I mean, Darius Slayton. Yes, he had a great game. He had a good game on Sunday. Made a great spectacular one-handed catch. All that, but we don't get that consistently from Darius Slayton. He make a play like that, and then like you saw a week before where he dropped a touchdown pass right in his hands. Theo Johnson played a pretty good game on Sunday as well. Probably one of his better games. He's actually catching the football. But I just don't. But overall, these weapons are just so subpar, man. I mean, we haven't been able to see Dart with Malik Neighbors, unfortunately. So these weapons are so subpar. Most definitely, we got right now. That's all we got is each other, man. That's all we got. But Lou, man, I put the link in the chat, man. If you wanted to hop on, if you was gonna hop on too, bro. I don't know if you're still out there, but if you're gonna hop on, I got the link in the chat for you. But yeah, no doubt though. This is this a lot of coaches out there, a lot of names. I mean, one name that I'm intrigued by, if he's interested in getting back in the game, is John Gruden. Myself, I think John Gruden clearly has like Jackson Dart what he brings to the table. So he was a guy that I'm definitely interested in. A couple other guys that other people have been bringing up, like my guy Adam, my co-host on Wednesday, Adam, man, he's bringing up the defensive coordinator from Green Bay. Seems to be a hot name all of a sudden. He's also high on Cliff Kingsbury potentially. Another guy to potentially bring in here. So it's to me, it's so many. I think it's going to be a lot of interest in this job, and I think Jackson Dart's going to be a big reason for that interest, man, and the fact of what he can bring to the table. So I'm excited for the coaching search. Like I said, if Mike Kafka goes out there and does something extra extraordinary with his in his time as an interim coach, he may end up being a strong candidate come when it's time to really go through the real true hiring process. So it's a lot going on, man. What you got going on, Lou?
Man, look, I'm just glad the brother gone. You know what I'm saying? We can start trying to move this team in the right direction. I don't understand the Bruce Arians comment. I think when he was head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was battling cancer. Um, he got that to go into remission, and then I think he retired like 2 years later. So I don't. While
Yeah, he
I do
stepped away
like
on
him
his
as a
own. He didn't
coach,
get fired. He definitely stepped away on his own.
yeah, and I think that was more of a health reason, and after the cancer scare, he probably realized, time is fleeting, and you want to spend time with your family and make memories and watch your little ones grow up. So I don't know if he would be interested in coming back to coaching. It's a lot of time away from your family and your loved ones. Um, and when you're at that age and you go through a scare like that, it makes you reevaluate what's important in life. So I wish him the best. Think he was a good head coach, but I don't think he's interested in coming back. Another name I've seen people throwing around on Twitter is John Gruden. I'm like, I don't know for the life of me why people think that this guy would be a good coach anywhere.
Well, I got because I like John Gruden. I think that he's a good offensive coach. I think when he does his like when you watch during the draft process, you watch like those draft camps he does, the quarterback camps he does. He works well with quarterbacks. He worked extremely well with Jackson Dart during that process. I happen to remember that episode. He worked extremely well with Jackson Dart, and I think that it would be kind of a good marriage there with those guys, a coach and quarterback kind of marriage thing. And I don't think we'll get like maybe the kind of overzealous love fest like you saw with Brian Daboll and had for him either. I think it would be so. I mean, I just think
I think
that
that would
Gruden want.
divide. I think that would divide the fan base even more. If you remember, he got let
I
go for racist stuff on his emails.
I
Um,
remember that. I do.
and even before that, Keyshawn Johnson had been talking about how he treated the players and how he was a racist and all of this stuff when he was with them for the Jets for a little while. So, uh, I just don't think with everything that's gone on with this organization, with all the whole thing that happened with Malik Willis, not Malik Willis, Shador Sanders, the not drafting of Shador Sanders, people already saying that the Giants are racist and all of this stuff. To bring him in right now would only give credence to what people are saying all over Twitter. And, you know, I just think we got enough distractions right now. We don't need any more. We need to try to get this ship going back in the right direction, in my opinion.
I mean, I hear that, and I understand the controversy, but I just think what this team needs is a coach that a proven coach, a proven commodity. I can't. I
Absolutely.
feel like going back down the road of someone that's like I know Chicago look like they hit lightning in the bottle maybe with Ben Johnson, and I know, but that doesn't always happen. Those guys don't fall off trees, you know what I mean? So don't grow on trees. So I just think they need to really focus this coach search on somebody that's legitimately experienced. I get the John Gruden controversy, but one thing I do know is that he's a proven good coach in this league. And I heard what you're saying about you need a coach for just the team, not Dart. But I know how I worded it, but John Gruden is a proven good head coach. He's a Super Bowl championship coach, Super Bowl champion winning coach, head coach in this league. I mean, that was many years ago, but he's been a proven winner. You know what I mean? He's been that's why I'm leaning to. I think the Giants just need something, a proven commodity. That's basically what I'm leaning at when I'm on a John Gruden. Now, like a guy like Bruce Arians was to be interested in coming back to coaching and he was up to the task, of course, definitely be a top candidate for me because that guy is definitely a great coach. Another great another great just head coach in general, another guy with another proven track record. And I think that's what the Giants need to lean this coaching search towards. Is somebody that can truly, be beneficial to them and the team, and somebody the team can automatically that will have automatic respect walking in the door. Not somebody looking to earn respect, somebody that will automatically already have it. You know what I mean? So I think they need to really focus their search on a guy like that. But I don't know. You got any other guys that you were thinking about, Lou?
Yeah, somebody called me. I don't know if it took me off your screen or not, but um
They blacked the screen out. Yeah,
I don't know.
but
We know the history with Aaron Rodgers. Usually where he goes, he gets his coach fired. Um and it's looking like Steelers season is not looking so good right now. So if Mike Tomlin comes available, that would be my first choice above every other coach out there right now. Because Mike Tomlin is a leader of men. He's disciplined. He's structured. He will whip these guys into shape and bring a culture in of doing your job, knowing your role, and playing your part, and doing this to the best of your ability. And a lot of guys ain't gonna give Mike Tomlin no slack, talk back, give him no grief because he's a no nonsense type of guy, and he demands the very best out of all his players, and he's gonna give you his very best as a coach. And when you have a guy like that, you'll run through a brick wall for him. And I think that's just the type of guy we need to turn this shit around.
I mean, look, I would definitely be on board with a Mike Tomlin if he became available. But here's the thing: Mike Tomlin's not going to get fired, so it'll be his option to leave the Steelers. He's not going to get fired from the Steelers. He's not going to get relieved of his
No, no,
duties from the
he's
Steelers.
not gonna get fired, but
So
the Rooney family
that's
and the Mara family have a relationship. So if they
no,
say,
I
hey, we
understand
want to
that.
talk to him, and the Rooney family says, yeah, you can talk to him, you can interview him, then that's a way in. I doubt that he's gonna get fired. I'm pretty sure he'll
No,
walk away.
he's not.
Yeah,
Steelers just don't do it. And he hasn't had a reason. There's no real grounds for him being terminated from his job. He
at
is still
all.
a successful head coach. The Steelers are leading the AFC North division right now, on pace to be representing that division in the postseason. And there's no risk. Just so it's going to be. It's really going to come down to Mike Tomlin for all of that. That's why I really haven't talked much about him. And McCarthy is another guy
I know
that's out
he
there, another proven winner as a head coach. That's like what I'm
I know
talking
he
about.
didn't want Aaron Rodgers. I
A
know
guy
that
that can
much. He didn't
command
want Aaron Rodgers.
a guy that can command some respect coming in. That's what the Giants need. And you said you don't feel like Gruden would be a good fit for the Giants either. I mean, look, maybe I'm in a small group of minority. I just feel like the guy's a good coach, a good football coach. He has a proven record, and I think he can come in. He can handle the New York media, and he can manage a football team properly. I think he can make the proper adjustments in game adjustments. I think he would just be. He's a good coach. I mean, I know how some of us can feel about him. I understand that. I get it. Totally get it. But I'm a second chance guy, and I think the guy has proven to be a good head coach. So I mean, I just wouldn't be opposed if he was even remotely a candidate. Another guy that's been a candidate, name out there is Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss's head coach. Lane Kiffin was
Hmm.
a terrible head coach in his first opportunity. Just kind of ran out on the was it? I can't even remember who it was now. Was it the Raiders also? Just kind of it was just bad. But it was a terrible stint as a head coach in the NFL. But it's been some time now. Maybe he's matured. Maybe he's grown. Obviously, there's a relationship with the quarterback there as well, and his name has kind of come up as well as a possible candidate as a guy as a head coach. Now he hasn't kind of fit that mold of a proven winner in the league in the NFL, but he's been a proven winner as a head coach on the college level. But he hasn't proven to be a winner at this NFL level. But he's
And
another
look,
interesting name being thrown out there.
at the end of the day, most times a first time head coach doesn't do well. They come on there, they learn as they lose, and then when they get a next try a few years down the road or whatever, or at another organization, they tend to do better. But for the most part, most times your first time as a head coach is not going to be very well. You're going to learn everything that you did wrong after you lose that job. And you'll look back, and hindsight is always 2020. So who's to say, maybe in a few years Joe Judge doesn't become a good coach, or Brian Dable doesn't become a good coach, or later on down the line, some of these guys might become great football minds. It just wasn't the time while they were with us. But there's a lot of guys, you know. It doesn't look like Harbaugh is going to be staying with the Ravens. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just some rumors I've been seeing, but that's another guy I would definitely be interested in. Um, there's plenty of guys who are qualified, who are proven head coaches in this league that would love to come work for this organization. The question is, do they want to work under Joe Shane?
Well, that's a different question. That's what something the Giants got to really gonna have to look into, man, because that's going to be potentially the biggest hurdle in hiring a coach. Because Joe Shane, I mean, look at it, man. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. The drafts that have been just falling apart. I mean, his picks, just this draft class is so far is looking like it might have been like might be pretty good, but still don't really know for sure. So it's kind of a mess, man. This Joe Judge thing could stunt the potential, the process of hiring a new coach. It says Jeff Halfley 4-3 defense. That's the Green Bay defensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, and his name has been coming up a lot on the coaching search. I mean, he'd be a guy that'd be a first time head coach, but he's got a lot of respect around the league, and you can clearly see that Green Bay defense is cooking over there. That Green Bay defense is
Yeah,
absolutely on
Philly
fire.
Philly
So
barely got out of there with that dub last week. Barely.
absolutely, they only scored 10 points. They're only able to put 10 points on the board with all those weapons. They only put 10 points on the board against the Packers. I mean, sure, it ended up being enough to win the game, but still, it was just that Green Bay's defense is legit. So, look, if that's the direction they do go in, I support the team as long as we get a guy in here. I'm a supporter of the New York Giants, so I'm gonna support the team in any way I can, man. And if that's what direction they're going, I'd be fine with that. I'll do is support it and hope everything can work out for the best. He can hire a good staff and things can work out for the best. The Cruiseman, if you're new to the channel, man, I appreciate you hit that subscribe button for me, like the stream, just help support the channel, help keeping it grow, man. I really appreciate it, and I keep trying to pump it out, man. This is a grind for me, you know what I mean. I can't put content out as much as I like, but I uh I work hard and try to put out the best content I can, man, when I can.
Yeah, I'm trying
So
to get
guys, I
back
want
on
to
my shit too.
guys, I want to see Rex Ryan for defensive coach. I mean, look, if as that, I don't want no parts of him as a head coach anymore. I think his head coaching days are, and behind him. But I wouldn't mind if he was interested in that. I wouldn't be mind with him coming in here working with Kayvon Thibodeau. Well, if Kayvon's still here next year, with Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and that crew up front, I wouldn't mind. I know Rex Ryan would know what to do with those guys. I
Hell
know he
yeah, he
would know
do.
what to do with them. What's
Hell
going on,
yeah, he
Adam?
do. But like I agree with you. I don't want no parts of him as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, in a heartbeat. But is that something he's interested in? He's sitting up there on TV now, relaxing. He don't have to travel every damn week, So, uh, you guys, we got to factor in that some of these guys are getting up there in age. Some of the guys we grew up watching coaching and stuff, they're getting up there, and they're sitting in pretty cush jobs right now, and they're not hurting for money. So, a lot of them ain't gonna step out of their comfort zone to go back to the daily grind of being a coach.
Well, I think Wink is happy where he is right now, Mosley, to be honest. But I couldn't see him possibly coming back here, especially if Joe Shane is still in the building as well. I mean, I know his problems seem to be more directly with Brian Daboll, but still, I don't, I couldn't see that happening, to be honest. But he said Sanders was going to be a Giant, and Daboll wanted Dart. Yeah, apparently Joe Shane had it his way. He would have picked Shedeur Sanders, apparently, from what I hear. And I don't know how accurate that information truly is, but Brian Daboll was committed to Jackson Dart. And to be quite frank, look, we haven't seen Shador on the field at really other than a little bit of preseason action. He seems to getting shafted over there in Cleveland. But at the end of the day, I can't complain about what I'm seeing from Jackson Dart. So
No, other than
I'm
him
not.
needing to protect himself, the kid's got it. He's got what it takes to be the franchise quarterback of the New York Giants.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Mac. Hi, Lou.
What's
Hey,
going
what's going on,
on?
Snarf?
Not
What's happening,
much.
bro? What you think? What you got on the coaches, man? What you think about the coaching situation here, bro?
Personally, what did Daboll in was his own ego and stubbornness, taking being a glory hog for what happened in 2022, and basically constantly going the wily coyote route, shooting himself in the foot by using the same damn tactic over and over again. I mean, that offense wasn't led by him; it was led by Kafka, if you ask me. And if Kafka is a lot more flexible and pragmatic than Daboll ever proved to be come this Sunday against Green Bay, especially with Winston under center. They might have a shot to win this weekend, but I'm not putting a lot of eggs in the basket, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I mean, look, Winston hasn't played a snap this season of meaningful football. I haven't seen him since the preseason, but we can that's a good way. We can get ready to segue into that because that's the next thing I was going to bring up. Mike Patricia for defensive coach. Another guy that I mean I'm okay with him in a
I
situation
thought it
like
was
that
Matt
because he's
Patricia, not Mike.
maybe I think it is Matt Patricia. You're right, it is Matt Patricia. But yeah, as a defensive coordinator, sure, because he's been a proven success in that role. But as a head
Except in
coach, no,
Philadelphia.
definitely, definitely no parts of him. And as a head coach, that I mean, he proved to me, he showed that he's just not it as a head coach. But yeah, let's talk about Jameis Winston. Mike Kafka right away. I mean, immediately on Monday afternoon, as soon as he was promoted to interim coach, he made it clear that Jameis Winston would be the starting quarterback in the event that Dart can't clear the protocol. And
It's more
it's a
likely
great
he's
move.
not going to.
Well, it's not. He's not. It's Friday. He hasn't. It's a wrap. I feel like at this point. So Winston will be starting on Sunday against the Packers, and it's a great move because once again, what we saw when Russell Wilson entered the game on Sunday was pathetic. Russell Wilson needs to retire. I mean, he's a case of a guy that needs to understand his situation. You just don't have it anymore. There's no more magic, Russell Wilson. Go ride off with your pretty wife and your kids and enjoy life, man. Go be a politician somewhere, whatever you want to do. But football ain't it no more, man. It's over with. All you're doing right now is putting a stain on what was a great career at this point now by continuing to try to play and looking like just a shell of yourself. When he went in the game on Sunday, it was just everything was bad. Is there anything positive we saw from Russell Wilson and that little bit we saw him on Sunday? And the only thing we saw positive from Russell Wilson all season was that Dallas game, and that was it. No other positive, nothing else we saw. We've seen nothing else, nothing else positive from Russell Wilson all season. So man, I feel good that at least Winston, you kind of know what you got. You got a gunslinger. He's going to go out there. He's gonna fling the ball all over the place. Yes, you got to live and die with the mistakes he's going to make because he will make a mistake.
Throw it to the other team. He will throw it to
You
the
know
other
what I mean?
team.
He'll do it, but he's going to take them shots down the field too. So it's up to our receivers to actually catch the football. So
Yeah, he's
and,
not
and that's
scared.
that's that's going to be a bigger question. He's got a cannon for an arm, effortless. He can just flick that ball and throw that thing 60 yards in the air. You know what I mean? So he's
Winston
And he
can't
ain't gonna
do
second guess himself. He is not scared or gun shy at all.
he's going.
Winston
So this
can't,
is
can't do the RPO routes, and the Packers pass
well.
rush will have a field day with that.
But that's where we're going to get up. That's where Mike Kafka comes in because now Mike Kafka, what are you prepared to do? Because obviously you cannot run this offense the same way you would if Jackson Dart was going to be out there. So that's where we're going to see what kind of coaching chops Mike Kafka has. It's to be an opportunity to see right now what kind of ways he going to adjust this offense to make it a more favorable for James Winston's skill set. That's what good coaches do, and that's what we're going to find out with Mike Kafka what he's able to do, man.
I mean, why do
Now,
you
what
think
we're gonna
Mohawk?
find out for sure is who was calling plays and what playbook they was using under Daboll. That's what we're gonna find out for sure
True.
because uh, Mike Kafka takes over the play calling and the head coach job for right now, and you see this offense look completely different. Then that solidifies everything we were saying about Daboll's coaching abilities.
Yeah, for the last 2 years.
Well, we're going to get a lot of those answers. I mean, it's going to be against, like Adam was saying, it's going to be against a tough defense, but we're going to get to see those. We're going to get opportunity to see those things, man, and find out, man, like what Mike Kafka's made of and like what he can do, what he can do as a coach, man. He's getting an opportunity. It's his opportunity he's been looking forward to. I mean, he seems to be a pretty humble guy. So we'll see, man. What's going on, Alex? Big Blue in the Bronx in the building. Appreciate you,
So
man. Hope everything's going good with you, man.
The
I
way
got a
I see
question
shit, Lou.
for you, both of you and the viewers. Um, if Mike Kafka pulls out 5 wins out of the last 7 games, what do you say?
I say
I say
keep
it's a,
them.
say it'd be impressive, man, but I don't know. I just
Without
think,
Scatterboo, without neighbors, you get an
but I
interim
don't
head
know.
coach come in here and win 5 out of the next 7 games against tough opponents. Do you hire him as your head coach?
I don't know, man.
Mm,
I think that's not when I said I need to see something extra extraordinary from Mike Kafka to really retain him. That's to me still ain't extra extraordinary. That's not the extra extraordinary I was talking about. To be honest, it needs to be like you go out there, you run the table, you dominating people. It just look. It has to be extra extraordinary. Like it has to be like it just. I kind of I'm with these
So
guys,
we'd have
Adam
to win the
and
next
Alex in
seven
the
games. We'd
chat.
have to win out.
It has to be like really like over the top impressive. You know what I mean? Like more so than than just it has to be over the top impressive. It has to be something where like you just got, oh God, we got to keep this guy. You know what I mean? And I don't see that happening, to be honest. And I think he's part of what's been a stain on this franchise the last few years. I'm sorry, guilty by association. And that's just what it is. He's kind of in a situation in a boat like that for me, man. I'm just not right now.
I'm just gonna
I
say.
don't see
I'm just.
him being retained.
I'm just gonna say it
Tell
like
us what's going on.
this. Knowing how stupid and desperate Mara is to get this team out of the rut, he would keep Kafka around even if he only won 3 of these remaining 7.
No, he's
He
going to
would be
go.
that stupid.
Look, the only way
Yeah.
this guy stays is if this team goes 9-8 and makes a playoff run of some sort. He's part of the problem. I don't care if he wins 5 games, 7 games, whatever the games he is. He's out. All right. We act like Daboll is, well, Kafka was calling plays this year. I don't care what it looked like or how it is. He called plays. He's part of the problem. Now, what you'll see, hopefully, is other guys getting utilized like the Jalen Hyatts of the world. But let's not sit here and say, well, Kafka, wins 5 games, he should stay. No, we need a cleaning of the guard. We need new coaching across all levels. What Kafka should have done, besides Jameis Winston, was fire Shane Bowen. Demote
Adam,
that motherfucker. Huh?
Adam,
Yes.
nobody said keep him. I asked the question, if he wins 5 out of 7, what do you say? That was my question. I didn't say keep him. If it was up to me, I'd have got rid of everybody. Joe Shane, Brian
No, I
Dable.
understand what you're saying. I'm answering your question. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not directing this at you. I don't know
Gotcha.
why people, when you answer a question, they think it's directed towards that person. No, I'm saying it doesn't matter what he does. He needs to go. I don't care if he wins 5 games and makes it look good. The season's over. You fired a head coach in midseason. Daboll hired Mike Kafka. So as much
Not only
as
that,
Mike,
he was never an offensive coordinator before that. He was a
He was a
offensive
quarterback
play
coach in Kansas City,
specialist,
I think.
yeah, and he designed
well,
play calls for passing. So
the best.
he failed as a first-time OC. Why would you then promote him as head coach?
Well, he's assistant head coach, but my thing is this: I don't want him to be here because it doesn't change the message of what we're doing. We need a clean refresh, and I want new voices in the room. A guy who can possibly push back against Joe Shane and his stupidity. The things about Kafka that Kafka is doing is he's going to audition for another job. So there's going to be plenty of openings if he can organize a team and make them look good. The only way those 5 wins really help him is for another team. They're saying, hey, you know what? Look at what I did with the mess in New York. Hire me, Tennessee. Hire me, whoever, right? Because I can work with a young quarterback. I've made Dart look good, blah, blah, blah. Now, this game is an anomaly for him because he doesn't have Jackson Dart in the game. He has James Winston. Now, you can't really, Winston's going to do a lot more for to help Kafka in certain aspects, but you want to see Kafka with Dart and say, okay, how does he, make this change? And the problem is he's working with a short deck because everybody's injured on this fucking Giant team. There's like the injury report is longer than my grocery list. I mean, it's crazy to think, So if he wins this game, good for him. But I think they're going to get destroyed in Detroit next week, anyways. And then I think they're going to get destroyed against New England, no matter who is coaching. So, I really don't think you're going to see his effect take place until the bye week, because that way you'll have time to sit down, go over the philosophies. You'll have 2 or 3 games of fuck ups or mistakes to go back and say, you know what, let's fix this, let's do this. I don't really think that's going to implement on. You fire the guy on Monday, he comes in as coach on Tuesday, he has a game plan on Wednesday. Like, I don't know if that you're really going to see much this game.
Well, my thing with Kafka is one of the big things. What he's said is he's wants to try to make a more of a commitment to the run game. So I don't know how that's going to go. Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary. I don't know if we'll see Turbo Miller get promoted up to the roster this week. But at the same time, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done because offensive line this season it's been playing overall pretty decent. You know what I mean? Not as terrible as we've seen in years past, but the run blocking has been atrocious.
Right.
And that was even when Scatterboo was out there. I mean, he was just bullying his way to get yards most of the time when he was out there before the injury. And I just think he's also something Mike Kafka is, he said he's had to sit down or whatever with Shane Bowen. I'm curious to see if that's going to have any effect on what we see from the defensive philosophy in a sense. I mean, you're right, Adam, what you said. It's a short, week. There's a lot to happen all in just one in this week. But, I'm just curious. It's time is now. And you got to. Well, the situation is what it is. But you got to work with what you got to work with. And
let's be real. Let's talk about that for a minute, right? So Shane Bowen even said he's like, well, I'm going to tweak some things, but there's really not much you can do, right? So basically he just said to you, I ain't going to really change shit. Even though Mike Kafka can tell me, hey, blitz more, great. So you blitz more, but now you're not protecting your cornerbacks who have given up plays all over the place, right? So it's a catch-22 for fucking Shane Bowen. What should have happened was somebody else call plays, right? What he should have done was say, fuck you, I'm giving this to whomever, and we would see the defensive change. What I'm thinking is going to happen is the same voice is calling the defense. The defense is checked out mostly on this guy's message. Right. So now, just because Kafka inputs whatever he inputs, I don't know, blitz more, don't play prevent defense on third and fucking whatever. Right. Great. That's fine. But this guy has had 2 seasons of ineptitude. I don't think Mike Kafka coming in and telling him, hey, do this is going to change the results of the defense.
I feel you on that, too. I mean, it's like you said, Shane Bowen he's a coach. And that's his he has his style, his philosophy, and I do agree. Like, it is what it is. And I don't think I agree. I don't think we're going to see much of a change. I think it's going to be still a lot of the same, weak efforts on defense that we've been seeing all throughout this season. But like I said, I just right now I'm just looking for any little sliver of hope to see some kind of improvement with this football team, man. Some kind of something.
The press conference will be a lot more fun with Winston, that's for sure. I mean, there's hope right there.
The preseason, the energy we saw in the preseason, we thought this team was going to come out and actually, be competitive and be more. You just kind of thought that they gave us that false hope.
I didn't have that hope.
They gave me false hope once again. I fall for it every year. I fall for it. They reel me in. I can't help it. They reel me in. And they had me. It seemed like this was a new, re-energized football team. I thought we was going to just get overall cleaner, better play. And it's weird. What we got was, the offense is showing an ability to score points. The defense can't stop anybody. A defense that's supposed to, people were thinking we want to be top 10 defense. Maybe could be a top 5 defense, and it's a bottom 2 defense, a bottom 3 defense. Yeah, I wasn't just me. I wasn't the only.
I said it with him. I said it with him because we looked a hell of a lot better on paper.
Well, I mean, the only guy that I heard over the last few months has been. I remember early on, Matt going, this is going to be a top 10 defense, and I said, hold your horses. They got to play a damn game before I said. He's like, no, man, you're going to see by the end of the year. I said, all right, man, we'll see. I'm not trying to throw shade at Mac or anything like that. All I'm saying is I heard it firsthand. What it is. And I think the problem that we have right now is the dysfunction in this franchise is really the problem. That's really what the issue is. And that's why I think they need to clean house, get rid of Joe Shane, because you let nobody wanted to come work for Brian Daboll last year because they thought he was going to be fired. Ended up with a 3-14 record, probably shouldn't. This year, he doesn't have the balls of chutzpah to fucking cut this guy. And the problem I had is that accountability is what cost you this season. Not being able to say, fuck it. You should have in week 2, that guy should have been hit the door. That guy should have fucking went out the door. We gave him 40 points. We cannot live like that. You have to have the foresight as a coach to do that. And I think the problem that this team has right now is the dysfunction that's going on right now between John Mara being sick, between the firings of these coaches. There's just so much that this team has on their back that I just can't see them always getting up and using all that energy, because if you've been in situations where there's been a turnover at the top or your manager has changed, that's a lot of stress on you as well. Like, now I have to audition not only for my job here, but my job, somewhere else, because the guy who comes in or the person who comes in, whomever it may not want me on the team in terms of how they run the team. I know a lot of people are like, let's keep these guys. Well, what if the guy comes in and says, I don't need Kayvon Thibodeau, or I don't need this guy, or this guy doesn't work for me? I don't want anybody to be hamstrung. I want this coach to have the autonomy to make whatever changes he made. If that means you want to trade Dexter Lawrence, then that means you trade Dexter Lawrence. Right? If that means you need to trade Kayvon Thibodeau or whomever, then you do that. Now, I'm going to trust the coach in getting that done. So I think a lot of what we're seeing here, trickles down to the field, and this team is hurting. Darius Slayton, again, garbage on that guy. He's injured again, not going to play this week. Right? We have to sign Isaiah Hodgins back to the team because we let little Jordan Humphrey go. I have no idea why that happened. There's just so much on this team that it's just hard for me to believe anything. And then when the defense happened, was the reason why I didn't believe it was going to be top 10 is because Shane Bowen never had top 10 defense in Tennessee. And if you looked at the numbers, which I studied, which when he got hired, we mentioned on the show that the best thing about his defense was his third down defense in Tennessee, right? Everything else was middle of the road and below. Coming here, I just knew that he wasn't going to be that good, especially running the wide nine. Now, speaking of Kayvon Thibodeau real quick, we're going to see the impact he has on this defense. If this defense is still shitty, right, then we'll know that Kayvon Thibodeau, isn't going to be missed. And the reason I say that is because people act like we're going to have to sign this guy because he's balling, quote unquote, balling out. Well, guess what? When you're a pass rusher, they don't care about your run stuffing numbers. They care about one stat alone. That's the sack total. Okay? Whether we like it or not, that's how these guys are judged. That's what it is. We're Judge Brian Burns. Why is he in the Defensive Player of the Year competition? Not because he has fucking, 10 tackles for a loss. No, it's because he has fucking 11 and a half sacks or whatever it is, and he's leading the charge that way, right? Leading the league in sacks. So my only issue with this kid is, as a 5th overall pick, he has not lived up to that in my eyes. Now, if people want to sign him, that's fine. But we're going to find out if his
on that, Adam.
I mean, people don't look at what I hate is that people don't look at statuses of your draft stock. They want to say, well, he's a good player. Okay, yeah, he's a good player if I draft him in the second fucking round. They got the same production out of fucking Azeez Ojulari, who was drafted in the same position, second round. He gives me 4.5 sacks a year. I'm like, oh, that's great. Kayvon Thibodeau's 5th overall pick. I'm trying to get that guy in the Hall of Fame. That's supposed to be a Hall of Fame talent when I draft him. A cornerstone of my defense. A Brian Burns, so to speak. Right? And he hasn't lived up to that. So why then am I going to go back and pay him? Because he's going to want an astronomical number. You think Kayvon Thibodeau's not going to want to get fucking paid on this team? You think he's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to take a discount, guys. No, he's going to be like, I've fought through injuries. I've done this. I've been on your shitty team. Give me my money, right? So at what point do you decide, hey, you know what? You're a good player. You're not Aiden Hutchinson. Because when Aiden Hutchinson's out, I was on a space and they kind of laughed at me. You're going to the same numbers. Aiden Hutchinson comes off that Lions defense. Their defense deflates. They are a different defense with him off the field. When Kayvon Thibodeau comes off the field, nobody notices. Nobody fucking notices. And that's my point.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like, if you get somebody just flat out better in here to replace Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm fine with that. But I'm okay with keeping him around at the right price as a rotational piece. I mean, I just still feel like that's
a bust to me then as a rotational piece. I'm sorry.
I mean,
because
look,
he was a 5th overall pick.
You're saying
he's
about
demand
the 5th
a certain
overall
type
pick.
of money to re-sign.
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry. I've said this before, guys. That's what I mean. When players got to humble themselves, brother.
But that's fine.
You're not getting. If that's understandable, like I said, I'm all for keeping Kayvon Thibodeau around for the right price, not for some ridiculous contract that he may think he's worthy of. No, if he wants some crazy shit like that, then let somebody else maybe pay him that. But
But
I
like
mean,
Lou,
what I'm
but
saying
like
is, I'm not necessarily running him out of town. I'm not like,
I'm not
yo, get the fuck
okay.
out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, and I think what Lou's also alluding to is, when you draft a guy in the 5th round, like we know Barkley was good, right? He was drafted 2nd overall. He deserved the money that he wasn't paid for the Giants, right? He deserved that money because he slogged through and he was a good player, right? He lived up to that number 2 overall status. When I'm looking at Kayvon Thibodeau, and you could say he could humble himself or not, he's not going to look at it like that. He's not going to say, well, Mac the Giant fan told me to humble myself, so I'm going to take a hometown discount because a few fans want me to haven't lived up. He's going to be like, no, I'm a 5th overall pick. This guy's in my bracket. I've played better than him, and him. I'm going to want my 30 million, and I need Joe Shane, if he's here, which I hope he's not, to fucking say, no, bro, you don't get the fucking money that you covet because you haven't lived up to the 5th overall status, right? And to me, draft status matters. Why do you think guys get picked up again and move on to other teams? Like you look at Xavier McKinney, right? That guy plays better than a fucking second round pick, right? That guy should have been probably drafted in the 1st round if you were to redraft the draft, probably higher up, the way he has an impact on the team. So for me, I hate to use this, but and it's an archaic way of thinking. But if you got drafted in the top 10 of a draft, I expect you to be a top 10 drafted player and make an impact on the defense. And you have not in 4 years.
Absolutely.
The only impact you have, the only game that we remember him making an impact in was against the Commanders. Like, that's the only game he had a strip sack fumble in that game, right? Outside of that, how many times can you count that he was in the backfield to do something? Okay, so he had the play against Jalen Hurts. Great. Let's put him in the Hall of Fame now. I mean, I need more than that. The guy, Brian Burns, was drafted 16th overall in the 2019 draft. That guy, if you were to redraft today, he's being picked in the top 10 because, or better, because of how he's played both here and now at Carolina. And when you pay him $150 million, I expect him to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, which he should be. He should probably get the award. He won't because the Giants suck. But that's what I'm talking about with Kayvon Thibodeau. And I don't see that. Now, I get what you say, Mac, in the paying him, but I can't have him be a rotational guy. This guy has to be a cornerstone of my defense. And if I believe that, then I have to pay him as such. I can't be like, well, you know what, Tibbs, take a hometown discount. He ain't gonna look at it like that.
Well, that'll be his own issue there. But we'll find see how that all develops too, coming down at the season ends, comes to an end. But this comment here from Alex, man, he said if Kayvon wants the big dollars, Joe Shane takes the L because he didn't get dick for him at trade deadline, which I agree 1,000%. This is once again can be looked at as a Joe Shane failure. If Kayvon Thibodeau is trying to demand all kinds of big money, and then it's like we could have just got rid of this guy, we could have just got rid of him and got some kind of assets for him or something. So I mean,
Leonard Williams back.
And this is my thing, right? Because I'm of the mindset that Joe Shane should have went too, because Joe Shane hired Brian Daboll. Joe Shane allowed him to this team to regress season after season. Joe Shane allowed him to retain Shane Bowen after failure after failure after blowing leads. Okay, this should have been a clean sweep. Brandon Browder should have got promoted up to GM and Kafka to interim head coach while they conduct a new search for a pair, a general manager and a coach. The fact that they haven't done that is what's leading me to believe that we're going to be in the same shit for the next 3 or 4 seasons.
You made a great point there. Okay, we are allowed to have an assistant head coach that you're willing to promote, but then you don't want to do the same thing with the GM who you want to promote, right? Who everybody that I've heard loves Brandon Brown, loves his input and his insight, but yet you don't have the balls to say we want to let you run the team. Because if you look at the Raiders did when they fired their coach, they gave a new interim GM and a new interim coach and Antonio Pierce, and they let him run the ship again the next year because they're dumb and they let him do that. If I am John Mara, I should have done what Lou said: fire them both. You don't think that if you don't think that Brandon Brown is good enough to run the show, right? then you keep Joe Shane. Just like if you don't think Casca can run the show, you keep Daboll and let him slog through the season and fire him at the end of the year. You did not do that. So for me, I agree with Lou here. I would have given Brandon Brown a shot to see, hey, what can you do with this offense? Hey, what can you provide? Because this could be your next GM job, and you're stifling. And by the way, the Giants would get compensation if he walked and it was a GM somewhere else, right? So now you're not letting him get that opportunity. You're keeping a guy here because clerically, you can do the day to day. Well, why are you making him an assistant GM? If the manager gets sick, the assistant manager is supposed to be the one that steps up and liaisons everything for everybody while that guy is out. So you make a guy an assistant GM, but then don't want to give him the title for what? Don't want to do for what? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I think Lou has a point, is that they should have both been sent packing. And I don't care if you're buddy with the owner. What about Brandon Brown, who's earned the right to be here, who's had interview after interview for being a GM candidate? You don't have enough faith in that guy to run the show? And that would be my question to management is, how come you're okay with Kafka being here, who's never done it, but an assistant GM who came from a winning organization like the Philadelphia Eagles, who might actually have ideas on this team and roster input, you don't want to give him the title?
Well, if Brandon Brown was the GM, I know Saquon Barkley would very much still be the running back for the New York Football Giants.
Absolutely.
I know Daniel Jones would have never got that contract. I feel confident Jones would not have gotten that contract that he got. A lot of things, man. A lot of things there. Alex have some great comments up here in the chat, man, as well. But like he said, I think this one here is another thing on Joe Shane, man. Like, you get to the trade deadline, we got players. Evan Neal, 7th overall pick, former 7th overall pick. Banks, another former first-round pick. And then Jalen Hyatt, a 3rd-round pick guy you traded up for, but you're not using any of these guys. These guys, well, Banks is getting used by default now, but these guys, you're not utilizing them this season. You haven't really utilized them at all this season, and yet they're just wasting roster spots, just wasting away. You got nothing for them. You couldn't trade them away and get anything for these guys at all. I mean, look, I know they're not worth much of anything, but something is still always better than nothing. And right now, we're getting nothing out of them. So at least if we got something in return for them, that would have been something. So these are just all the failures you guys speak of with Joe Shane, man, and the reason why he definitely needs to be out the door. I just don't understand why seems to be getting this free pass right now. But
and to be fair, I don't think he's getting a free pass right now. I think due to circumstances, he's getting a free pass. I think John Mara mistakenly, did this. He was like, let me fire one so I don't have to fire both, because I need one here because I can't do the day to day. And my problem is that these guys came in as a package deal. They should leave as a package deal. And you have assistant GMs and assistant head coaches for reasons like this. For example, the guy in New England, the defensive coordinator, is the linebacker coach. And Mike Vrabel had a plan in place for when his D coordinator had cancer and came up with a plan to say, okay, this guy is now going to call plays. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when the defensive coordinator comes back, but that guy now, because how well that defense is playing, he might be promoted to assistant head coach or something along those lines, so they still can keep him and keep the D coordinator. So we just need better leadership here. And with Joe Shane, he's like a sniveling little snake. He doesn't give confidence. He doesn't breathe confidence to me. He's like a nerd that used to beat up in school, that happened to, know a thing or two about X's and O's, and here we are. The guy didn't even want Jackson fucking Dart, okay? He didn't want Dart. He told Daboll, do you want Dart, right? And then, according to people, he had say in Russell Wilson starting. Again, leadership. Regardless of how you look at Daboll, he should have been on the table like, fuck you, bro. I'm starting the guy that I think is best for the team, not best for what you want your narrative to look like, right? So, to me, the ownership just needs to take a step back, reevaluate everything. And I really would have let's say you want to keep Joe Shane, I'd fire Joe Shane and keep Brandon Brown and say, listen, work with whatever coach, you make the head coaching hire, and we'll go from there. That way, you get a guy in here who's a bright mind, who deserves to probably be a GM, and you don't have to let him go. Because if you cut Joe Shane, you lose that resource that is Brandon Brown. Now, like I said, I would rather have seen Brandon Brown run these last 7 weeks, and then you could have evaluated. Listen, Kafka's got to go, but Brandon Brown has done a great job in getting talent here. So, we'll see what happens these next 7 games.
If you want my opinion on that, here's how I see it. Yes, is Shane a sniveling little snake who at least applies more of the logic in what he does when compared to his predecessor, Gelman? Sure, Gelman could get the names, but the problem was in the draft, the problem was he was boneheaded when it came to free agency pickups. Shane, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite. He's good with the logical free agency pickups, but he's atrocious in draft picks.
Yes, he has been. He's been absolutely awful. I mean, these draft classes they're just not panning out at all. I mean, the talent I don't know. Like I said, I want to believe that all these players aren't really truly that bad, but I feel like they can't all, to me, I feel like they can't all truly be that bad. I just think we've had some really, really bad coaching. I mean, they might not be
it's a combination
great.
of both.
Yeah, I think think that's what it is. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's like you said, a combination of both things, man, where you getting maybe some players that ain't necessarily all that great, but yet they're also not being coached up either. So it's like,
well, Shane Bowen can only do so much with like a guy like Tyler Nubin. At some point, you got to know how to fucking come down on an angle on a play. Like the game against Barkley, you see him in the hole, right? You see the camera shot, and Barkley is like 5 yards away from him. I knew it was 6 at that moment because he didn't even come down and like a bat out of hell come in and try to make a tackle. He was still gathering himself 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage with a guy who needs a little bit of airspace to make you miss, and that's exactly what he did. And this has been Nubin's problem all along. You can tell a guy. It's like when you have a student in class. You can give them the answer to the test, motherfuckers still fail because they just don't. There's something about them where they're like, well, the guy gave me A, I'm still going to select B. You're like, what the fuck, man? Like, we're giving you the answers to the test, and you still can't make plays, and it happens week after week. That's on the. I have to put that on the player at some point.
No, that is on the player though, because I agree with you 1,000% because these are basic football things, football 101 that you learn from the time you start playing the game, even as a little kid in Little League and Pop Warner and shit. Like the angles this guy takes are just absolutely atrocious at times. Like that Chargers game with that big run for Omarion Hampton, and then like you said, the big Barkley run, and those are just two that stand out, like glaringly stand out on film. But it's been plenty of other ones too, where it's like, why are you always just taking bad pursuit angles? Like, bro, in Little League, high school, college, you do these things at practice, pursuit drills. They call pursuit drills. You practice these things. You should have this at the NFL level. You should have that shit down. And to me, that's definitely a
it should be second nature.
That's why I can't defend this guy. I tried to be one of those ones that tried to defend this guy, but I just can't do it because you're putting so much terrible tape out there that I can't defend what everybody is seeing, including myself. I can't continuously defend that, man. It's like that stuff. Things like that are the basic things. That has nothing to do with the Giants coaching staff. That is absolutely on Tyler Nubin. That's not a Shane Bowen thing. That's a Tyler Nubin thing.
So it gets back to your point where, I just think guys are not performing because they're just, not talented enough to do certain things. The one thing I will say, though, is I don't think Shane Bowen's scheme ever had his players brought in to fit his scheme. I think he was brought in and they kind of just shoved it down his throat. Like, yeah, you have fucking Thibodeau, Burns, and now Carter, make it happen. And that's never what his, mantra was, right? And then he has like a guy, Deontay Banks, who he constantly fucking puts out there, with no accountability. And it's because he's the number one overall pick not number one, but number one pick. And I just think he was given the raw deal, right? I'm not exonerating him for anything. I still think you should be able to come up with a defense with these three guys on the field. Spagnuolo did it. Spagnuolo figured it out when he had fucking Newman Yora, Justin Tuck, and Michael Strahan and Kiwanuka. He was like, holy shit, let me implement this NASCAR package and have a fucking advantage when it comes to defense on third down. That's what he did. The NASCAR package was invented by fucking Steve Spagnuolo. Everybody now implements it around the league, but he was the first to be like, you know what? I got these 4 studs on here. I got a guy who can play inside in Justin Tuck. I got another guy who can play inside in Kiwanuka or Strahan, and I can line these guys all over the field and have a chess match. Instead, when we have the same fucking shit every week, there's no creativity really with this defense. Now, I don't know if the message is being lost, if the players aren't hearing it, but what doesn't make sense to me is like you hold teams like the Denver Broncos scoreless for like damn near 3.5 quarters, right? You damn near have the Bears bottle up for 3.5 quarters. It's the last. It's situationally at the end of the game is where he loses everything, and I just think that's the players not being able to, close out the games, right? Like if you I'm looking at this game, I'm rewatching the Texans game against Jacksonville. At the end of that game, they put the defense in they put it in the defense's hands, and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson caused havoc for Trevor Lawrence that final drive, even though they were down points. When it mattered most and the money was on the line, they came through. When the money's on the line for this defense, they have no accountability. They have no leadership that's going to look down that line. And you're looking at Dexter Lawrence; he's probably banged up, right? And that's what I mean when I look at a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau. You have all these stars on your team.
Dex is mentally checked out. I feel like all of this, but he's been on a bad team for so many years now. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep putting my body on the line for this shit.
You're right. I do think that. But to get my last point about Thibodeau is like you should have one-on-one against everybody, and the weakest tackle there. If you have a smart defensive coordinator, he's going to put the best guy against the best guy or in the matchup, right? So my point is, if you're getting singled up, which you probably are, because Burns is getting double teamed, and now Lawrence is getting double teamed, that's 4 guys accounted for on the defensive line. Not to mention the other defensive tackle that there. How is Darius Alexander outplaying you? Right? He's a fucking rookie. He's outplaying Kayvon Thibodeau. And everyone's like, well, look at the pressure stats. You missed 4 tackles against Caleb Williams last week. He missed damn 4 tackles. And I don't care that your shoulder's injured. Lawrence Taylor played with an injured shoulder. Guy had 3 sacks in a game. Fucking blew out his shoulder, came back in the game, put a harness on, and still had 3 sacks and impacted the game. Like, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about keeping players. I'm not worried about what they do, on somebody else's team. But when they're here, they need to perform. And when we're evaluating this roster going forward, we need to figure out what this coach, the next coach, whoever it is, comes in, and whoever his staff is, we need Joe Shane to come in and be like, what do you need? How can I help you be successful here? Not just getting the shiny new toy and saying, great, we have Brian Burns. He's a great player. Now go work with him. What you need is, I run this type of system. I need this type of guys. What guys fit that profile in the draft or in free agency? They may not be the stars that you're looking at. They may be guys that fit where your defense is. Why did they go out and get Jalen Phillips in Philadelphia? Because he was in Vic Fangio's system, and it made sense. They didn't go out and get another guy from another fucking team to say, we got this star player, and then it doesn't work out, because you're wondering why, because he doesn't understand what the fuck he's doing on the defense. So to me, we just need better leadership. We just need better autonomy of the roster. And I don't know what's going to happen on Sunday. I'm excited because I like Jameis Winston, but I'm thinking we're going to see the same result, to be honest with you, a loss of some sort, because Green Bay, they have their defensive identity. They know what the fuck they're going to do. All their strength plays into our weakness. We don't run the football well. They stop the run, right? We're not going to have our mega quarterback out there playing RPOs. Jameis Winston sits back there like a statue, right? And he fumbles and he intercepts the ball. He has 167 touchdowns, 172 interceptions. Like that guy is going to turn the ball over. So for me, I like what Kafka did with Winston, but I don't know if he's a leader of men. I don't know if he's going to tweak anything. And this roster is kind of hamstrung. And I think what we do as Giant fans is we overinflate players. We do it all the time. We're like, this guy's great. And then it turns out that he's not really that good. And then who does that fall on? Joe Shane. So to me, the end, I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated with this team.
Oh, look, you gotta channel it a little bit. I gotta wrap this up. I gotta wrap it up. I gotta go to work. That's why I had to do the stream early today, because I gotta go to work.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
I gotta get ready to
Appreciate you
wrap
having
up,
me, bro.
and I gotta get ready to go, man.
All right,
So
well, good talking with you too, man. And I
I
don't know
Likewise,
the other
bro.
appreciate
guy,
y'all
but
coming on, sharing your thoughts about the coaches. I appreciate everybody in the chat. It's been a great Friday afternoon chat, man. But I do gotta get ready to wrap it up because I gotta go do what pays the actual bills, and YouTube ain't doing that right now for me. So
Go subscribe to Mac the Giants fan. That's
most definitely.
MAC the Giants fan. You heard?
Most definitely, most definitely. I appreciate y'all, but I got to check out now, and I'll see y'all on Sunday immediately following the football game with another edition of the True Blue Aftermath. It's your boy Mac the Giants fan. Make sure y'all sub up to my guy at G Nation Inside Sports. Make sure you sub up to Mets channel 2128. Make sure you go sub up to Adam Costa's channel as well, man. Sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network. I appreciate y'all. See y'all on Sunday after the game.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MACDA Giants fan.